Welcome back. Question time. So the most interesting part, and we have fortunately very many interesting questions. And as you can see, and I won't introduce our gentlemen here anymore. So I hope you remember the names. And as you see, not everyone is here, but we are ready to change the seats. So let's start then going with the first one. It's to Mihkel.
Okay.
Please explain more on European Investment Fund. Is it an European Union institution? What can they invest in on Estateguru?
So European Investment Fund is a partner of European Commission and European Investment Bank. So their main aim is to kind of support the European economy in places where it's needed to kind of to really accelerate some of the areas. So aim of this investment for them is to really accelerate the SME lending due to the kind of the impacts of COVID. So and what they will do is actually they will be the cornerstone investors into our Luxembourg debt fund, which will have already established, and together with them we are also now additionally looking other European fund institutions to be part of this fund and to set up this investment vehicle and to then start deploying it on Europe to really support SMEs here.
Next one. Germany has loans on the site, but when will UK loans appear on the site for investors? Ross?
Well, at this moment in time, due to having our FCA license unfrozen, we're unable to put any projects onto the website at this moment in time. But I think hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks we'll be able to put those projects onto the website for our UK investors and European investors to be able to invest. But at this moment in time, we're just waiting on the FCA to come back to us, and once they do, we'll be able to go to market. So at this moment in time, we're just waiting for those guys.
One more for you, actually. Will the loans in the UK market be available in euros or pounds?
Well, here at Estateguru, our systems, everything's done in euros. So for our UK investors, they will be investing in sterling, but that will be converted into euros through one of our partners, BNP Paribas. So if they was to invest, say, £1,000, so you're looking at around about 1,100 euros. When the borrower pays back the payments to the investor, it's all done in euros. So, and when they take the money back out of the system, they would be taking on the currency exchange risk. But still, the returns the investors will be getting back on their investments will still be around about 9-10%.
Maybe a couple of additions here is that we'll be then working on also on a solution that it will be more comfortable for the investors later on to also make these changes on the platform. So you can actually, as the UK will be the first actually the different currency for us, but probably in the future there will be other different currencies as well. So that we need to also provide these kind of solutions on the platform. And maybe one more comment, what Ross mentioned is that the license frozen there, and maybe some things that why it's like this. So the reason was that we were actually getting a license. It was already many years back, but then we decided, okay, COVID came, and we decided, okay, we'll a little bit postpone the kind of the launch of the UK market, and therefore in a cooperation with the local FCA, we said this like usual procedure. So they tell that, okay, you are not actively at the moment working there, so it will be put on hold, and once you are ready, let us know, and we can already continue doing the business. And this is what actually Ross and the team is doing now, to really revoking the what was already done, and then to hopefully kick off in a really good pace.
Yeah. One for you, Mihkel. Does Estateguru somehow protect private investors?
Is there more specification?
Yeah, actually, it's kind of complicated because, investing always includes like risk, but perhaps all these.
I think, there are several ways to answer this question. So we don't have a guarantees, like for example, if you put the money on a deposit, there's a European-wide guarantee that up to 100,000 it's protected, and whatever happens, they will be paying this back. For us, our business model, our kind of cornerstone or the main logic is the mortgage part. So all the deals will have some kind of real estate-backed asset for investment. So this is like our main protection for the investment. So if something happens with the deal, we can start kind of, or the project, we can start liquidating the assets, and through that get back the investors' money. Also, maybe on general investor protection is maybe the big change will be the pan-European crowdfunding license. So till now there was like local licenses available, and we tried to get to be compliant in all countries where it was possible. So that's why we have license in Lithuania, that's why we have in Finland. We were doing all the things to prepare the German market. As said, we talked about a little bit this UK market. So these were like local ones, they had some differences. But now with this pan-European license, what it kind of unifies the practices, and this means that once you get it, you can start operating in different jurisdictions in Europe under the same license. And the main idea of this license is really describe how the platform should do the business, and also set some kind of rules for the platform, and then with the main focus of actually protecting and the investors and the retail investors. So with that, we could do another seminar and session, and there's a lot of information available about that as well. So,
but it actually inspired me. It's not from our listeners, but what is the biggest change? Like what changes the most for all of us, like at Estateguru, with this pan-European regulation, or it's just something everywhere, like little bits and pieces everywhere?
There are many things, but maybe from the aspects of investors, there's a certain way, or like what info you need to provide to the investors for them to make decisions. There's a cool down period. There's also more questions understanding the background of the investor, kind of, and then kind of categorize, and is it a sophisticated investor or non-sophisticated? And if it's not non-sophisticated, then more kind of this kind of risk topics you need to explain to these investors. So, and there's also official way of how to kind of handle complaints, where to turn to if you feel that the platform is...
Actually, one question is about complaints. Like when a private investor wants to complain about something, then how? What are the channels, or what is the process of?
This is like also something we need to also prove that we have this process in place. So today there's also a separate place, for example, on our webpage, you can find it and make it for that. We need to register it, we need to answer it in certain time, and also let basically regulator know that these kind of things, the questions has been. But this, I think, is more extreme when people is really not that happy about the service, but it's always, you can turn to our customer support, talk with our specialists in this department, and they will provide you all answers to questions. There's also blog, news, everything where we share all the information to be available.
But I think like most often, like the email, like is
email. So this was shortly about kind of about the license. So there's many things what applies, what we need to do ourselves as well, additionally.
The question, I will ask it from Artūras. How are loan interest rates determined? Do higher interest rates imply higher default capital loss risks?
Well, in our platform, basically, it does not. If it's to answer it simply, if a little bit deeper analysis is that basically on our platform, the interest rate is mostly defined by the demand and supply. If we have if we have situation on the market when people, let's say, just like before the war started, or just straight after the pandemics, when people had more of spare money in their accounts, when all the institutional investors, etc., they have much more money around, and there are much more people who want to invest their money somewhere. The borrower has much more opportunities to get the necessary amount for the financing. So he can go, and he or she can go and negotiate lower terms on his project. As well, it's also defined by the by the liquidity of the property. If real estate market is up, if the sales are good, this means that the project becomes more liquid, which lowers the risk. So the borrower is seeking for lower money, and he expects to get it, which might happen if there is much money on the market. If we see the situation like now, that there is the amount of money is lowering on the market, and the demand is still high, and borrowers are seeking for money, and they are starting to become ready to pay a little bit more for even though that it has nothing to do with the liquidity of the property or with the risk of the project. So basically, all of the projects which go to Estateguru, they go through the same route of vetting. Our risk team does huge job by checking the properties, evaluations, and everything, and the business plan as well. Regulation also adds some additional things which we need to check for every project. So in every project which goes to the platform, it has already huge work for the investor done. However, every investor must understand that he is always exposed to risk, and this is very important to repeat it every time. However, the interest rate doesn't reflect the risk, the amount of risk. Sometimes the project which might look like very, very risky is less riskier than 5% loan at the bank.
Thank you. We have one private investor from Sweden. And by the way, thank you for your kind words regarding the Estateguru platform. But the question is about the expansion to Sweden, and because the private investor has been quite unhappy with the local platform there. And the question is that what is our plan regarding expansion to Sweden?
We have done basically pre-work on Sweden, and as I explained in earlier part, is that in the end we tried to cover the most of the Europe, and definitely Sweden is there. But the exact date I can't promise, because Sweden at the moment is not yet on a hot list of our next operations, where we deploy also team on locally.
Actually, it goes well with the next one. Are there risks with Estateguru growing too fast to too many new countries at once, like while expanding to too many countries like at once?
Yeah, maybe I can start, and maybe somebody wants to add additionally. So this is what we have been doing actually also consciously, that definitely is where in our business, when we are handling the investors, kind of facilitating the investors' money, and also doing it in with a way of lending it out to the borrowers. So if you kind of expose yourself, I don't know, let's say 100 times growth, so you need really to be sure how you then, I don't know, build your portfolios, or how you mitigate your risk on local level, and especially if you move to the new countries. So our approach has been that actually then let's do it like step by step. So, and also learn in all the markets where we go. So it's also, even though we have build processes, and these are quite similar to all the countries, but there are still local particularities, and that's why we have the local expertise there, with the local team, with the local risk people involved, so that there's a local element as well. So somebody who knows all the corners and all that, and this is like really critical. So yes, there's a to sum it, we are kind of balancing in a way that we are able to also parallelly build our process, build our credit decision systems according to the local countries, and to be sure that once we go and start allocating more resources on capital-wise to these countries, that our portfolio stays in good shape. And this has been, I think, one of our good things what we have done and shown over the time, that the portfolio has stayed quite healthy, and this is something we really aim to keep in the future as well. I don't know, maybe country experience as well.
At the same time, such type of growth is also comes naturally. Basically, what we did now, we have built a proper skeleton for our product. And at the moment when we want to expand to another country, like Mikael just explained, we mostly need only local expertise, because we already have a proper skeleton which is proper operational. And second most important thing, that at the moment when we're getting this pan-European license, that makes that is a game changer for us, actually, for cross-border platform, because we would know the exact rules how we can play on every court in Europe. If we wanted to start any business before, we had to go to the local authorities to understand all the local business, how it works, and so on and so on and so, how to serve same investors who want to provide a complaint. That was also one of the main topics, because whom should deal with complaint if such arises from some country. So now all of those questions, they are answered. So for us, expansion is simply a natural thing, and it's at the moment less risky than it was ever before. And it would be, at the moment, it would be much more convenient for the investor from anywhere in Europe to get into such type of investing, and to protect his rights in case he wants to do so. So, and second aspect of this question is that our borrowers, they are not only local. Lots of people, they do something on their domestic market, but they are also considering that they could do something abroad. With our expertise and with our financing, they like it, and they would like to expand it to other countries. And this is also a product which we would like to provide, and which we are providing, and which we want to provide, and we have rules for that. So our growth is absolutely natural thing.
A very good comment. Thank you.
Maybe two aspects as well, quickly, is that first of all, there's also like growth speed is a little bit different. So if you compare, for example, Lithuania to Germany, there's already the size of one deal is a little bit different. So
Scale is different.
So Björn can maybe comment more. So average in Lithuania, what is it?
Let's say 500,000.
And in Germany, it's
average more than 2 million right now. Yes.
Yes. So this means that already you do maybe similar amount of deals, but then eventually you end up in different volumes. So, and also what we are aware is that once we are already kind of more experienced in the country, then we can really scale it up more quicker, and that's why the healthy split between retail and capital markets.
The question to the one who checked Tableau reports this morning, because I didn't. Hello, congrats for the event. Thank you. What about the secondary market in the platform? What is the total volume comparing with the primary one? All in all.
All in all, secondary market is kind of a convenience solution for our investors who want to kind of exit earlier. So overall, the term is anyway quite short term. I think in the average it's like 12 months. So most of the people are waiting till end of the project cycle. So, but for the people who want to exit earlier, yes, this is a possibility. But overall, it is like marginal compared to the main business.
Actually, the question also to you, Mikael, because you also take care of product development. Is there anything in the pipeline, like Estateguru Debit card, that allows investors a direct access to their earnings cash in their account? As I have, for example, in my Swiss broker, especially in case you offer different currencies in future for the investors, this would be useful.
Yeah, this is something we have had it for our longer term roadmap, but not in a short term. There's a business case behind it, so we'll keep you posted on that, but nothing on a short term. So,
but I think the first phase on this would be this app for retail investors, which is work in process.
Yes.
Yeah. risk-related question. Would be fantastic to know why the late loans, for example, more than 100 days, are not default but continue waiting for solution without more details what is happening with the borrower. Perhaps Arturo, because why I keep asking those risk-related questions from Arturas. Arturas has been with us for
5 years.
5 years. So, and I think in Lithuania we haven't had any default cases or
we had cases which went through the default, but
they are all,
nothing is lost. Everything is repaid. And
So,
but as long as still dealing with it on a daily basis and successfully. But the main thing that I always try to compare our loans to some things which happen in people's life to understand it a little bit better for a larger audience. So I always compare loan or to a marriage, like financial marriage. So in marriage, it's also the same. When people are getting married, most of the marriages, they are celebration, when people meet together, celebrate, and so on. And everyone says that everyone vows to live long live and long live after and be happy, etc. But when they divorce, we see pictures and everything like man and a wife are fighting, they're dividing properties, etc., etc. Lots of fights, lots of everything, and almost like a small war between them. So in financial marriage is the same. When loan is repaid on time, when the borrower is happy to pay and his project is fine, everything is fine. Everyone pays the money, and we as a creditor, we don't need to make any additional moves for them, and everything is smooth and clear. But when the fight starts with the borrower, basically our average loan to value is around 60%. So when we come to the borrower and say that today is the day when you has provided as a collateral of 1 million euro worth, we have given you 600,000 euros. We are taking it, and thank you very much. So as you see, and as we could predict, borrowers, they are not very, let's say, happy with that, and they're trying to do whatever they can do to stall this process and to do something about it. So in order to, first of all, prevent the borrower from any type of the harm to the process, we are not stating anywhere our further moves. The thing is that we are international large platform. Among our investors, we have people who invest, we have competitors, we have those who check on our platform in educational reasons. That's absolutely fine. But that's also the place where some information could be leaked. So in order to prevent any type of leaks to our competitors, to the borrower or someone else, we are not discussing the steps which we are making further. However, sometimes it comes that people are simply not familiar with the terms. So in order to start the procedure of default in the right way, it takes us 100 days only to start it. So basically, we send one letter to the borrower officially. We must wait for his answer for 30 days. After 30 days, attorney sends another, and then it's another 30 days, almost 90 days, for 3 letters. And if the borrower doesn't respond, so for 30 days, we have nothing to write. There are no potential updates for this, but it absolutely doesn't mean that something is wrong with the process. Basically, at least, let's say in Lithuania, the shortest possible term for the default to get recovered is 100 days. So 100 days, everything is just smooth and nice. And it can take up to 500 days, like we had on our platform in some countries. So, but however, we also, I must admit from our side that the goal of Estateguru is to serve the best interest for our investors. So sometimes the borrowers, they are providing us with an evidence that there is one or another payment pending somewhere in the bank, and he or she might pay very soon or in a month, or something is happening which might definitely change the situation. And in our opinion, it's a little bit better in the favor of investors to recover this loan 1 month later with some late interest payments, etc., rather than start default procedure, start calculating some penalties. However, the cost of this procedure would be significantly higher. So sometimes we do not start this process in 100 days just in order to keep it in favor of investor, to keep the process in favor of our investors to receive their money back.
I think, by the way, that you just covered another question which was related to this topic. What do you think is not too long? Is it not too long, 3 years for selling a property in platform? Could be the problem that a property that was financed on platform not evaluated quite well. But I think you covered that it's nothing to do with evaluation, but actually this is a complicated process to get all the money back for the investors.
I think it's important to also understand that each case is a little bit different. There are cases where it goes smoothly, but we have a dedicated team working on this. We have a dedicated people and legal partners in all the countries who are working with these cases, and we are doing our best to really solve them. And what we have seen is that our track record shows that we have been able to actually deal very well, and every time we solve a new case, we are learning and become even better in the case. And I think Matti also explained well in kind of the situation, for example, in Finland, and why it takes longer there. And I don't know if you want to mention something additionally or.
Yeah, just as an example, I think Artturas actually summarized the situation with the borrowers pretty well, using the comparison of a marriage. Everything's fun and play until it isn't, right? We've all been there. But the thing is that sometimes, if it's 100 days or whatever, it's costly to start the default process. Sometimes there's no point of starting that. Sometimes just project takes 100 extra days. For example, as I explained earlier, was that in Finland, due to the COVID, for example, and high construction prices, they stalled the projects for a while. For example, for 1 quarter, that's already 100 days almost. And that means already 100 days of late. Then the other thing is that with defaults in Finland, not to go into specific cases, but for example, 2 cases that I have pretty clearly in my mind is that it took 10 months just to get the subpoena to the borrower. It's not from our side. We actually started dealing with the default right away. Right away when there was the first late payments and we noticed, okay, the borrower has run out of money, we have to deal with it. We started the process, but the court in Finland, again, is slow and they don't actually work that well internationally especially, which means that we have to help them quite a bit. And after all, we could deliver the subpoenas and so on. Then it takes just time for the court to make the rulings. Then when the ruling is there, they give it to the bailiff. Then we are trying to push the bailiff, but because it's the bailiff's work is clearly defined in the laws in Finland what comes to debt collection laws. It just takes a lot of time for them to put the default case into the public sale, for example. They have to, for example, notify the other debtors if there are such and so on. And that is what we are dealing with. As mentioned, we are using, at least in Finland and I think in other countries also, the best legal offices in the whole country. As a lawyer, I can guarantee that. And we are dealing with them. They are doing really good job with the defaults. We have everything in place. We have the documentation in place when we are doing the projects. And for example, now we are not expecting any capital loss for the investors. Just what I'm, of course, sad about for the investors, and I also invest in Estateguru and I have money in those projects, is that it just takes time. But hopefully we are able to recover the whole principals, interest, and hopefully even the default payments. So hopefully they will.
One
Maybe still quick one Possible?
A
Yes,
question or?
on that topic. So
okay.
it's like still almost 95% of our portfolio is performing really well, and this is something what we're aiming to do actually. That you could have zero risks and then you can't do any volumes. So our aim is to even ease that there is some level of loans what are not happening as expected, but to be on strong on these areas where the things don't go, and this I explained. And what is important to understand is that we have this real estate backed. So if you are, for example, using some other investment vehicles, I don't know, for example, stocks, and you buy into some company goes bankrupt and is liquidated, you have nothing. With real estate, you have at least this collateral what you can sell, and this is like the main benefit for us, I think.
Yeah, and if I may add one point that I always tell to the investors is that actually with stocks you are dealing with capital loss almost every day, 10% here or there, you know. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, sometimes down with 30%. You are doing actually a capital loss. You are having losses with your principal. At Estateguru, what principal loss is currently like 0. something percent, where like with promilles or something like that. And what we are concentrating quite a bit on actually, and at least where my days go quite heavily is dealing with those defaults, because they take a lot of time, but we're dedicated in dealing with those in order to ensure that no investor make any capital loss, hopefully. So, yeah.
The last question, which we have very positive answer to, is it possible to invest in the capital of Estateguru?
Yeah, this is in our hearts. That's why we have actually done already 2 rounds in Cedars to allow some extra even involvement with Estateguru, and as we kind of already hinted during the day, then yes, we are soon opening the new round.
Next week starts pre-registration.
So to hopefully there's always risk associated with all of the things as we continue saying. So, but if things go well, then to be part of also Estateguru success story and take part of this, how we as a company grow.
I would love to end actually that every one of you would wish something for our listeners. So thank you. We had such a great audience, lots of interest, and yeah, everyone. What do you wish for our investors, borrowers? So for this year, for 2022.
I hope high returns for our investors, of course. And what I really much hope is also patience. Patience with the situation, what we are dealing with currently, with the war and everything. And also, I encourage everyone, again, to read books about macroeconomics, about this, like how things are linked to each other, especially. And then, of course, as mentioned, we are here always that we can be asked something from, you can approach us even, or our customer support if you have any questions as an investor. And that is what I really want to say to all of the investors, because we are in a new situation, of course, yet we are dealing business as usual. Situation varies from country to country, of course, but that's why we are here today also to explain how the situation looks like in every and each country.
Thank you.
Yes, okay. I would like to encourage you to get in touch with us, with the German team, if you have, for example, special questions regarding the German projects. Not a problem. We have a good team since there in Germany for you. And if you have some questions, come to us, discuss with us. We are happy. Yes, thank you.
I would like to wish actually for all of our customers as borrowers and investors, and for ourselves as a company, to have cool heads and hot hearts, just to have enough faith to do things which we are doing, to go forward, to invest, to learn, to read, to build, to buy something, to buy a car, to crash a car, to buy a house, to get married, to get divorced, etc., etc., etc. But to still have a cool head to stop us at the right time and read the right book, choose the right engine, switch off the Wi-Fi at home and talk to your wife a little bit more. Maybe she will turn to be a much more interesting person than you thought before. So just things like that.
First of all, thank you very much for attending the investor event today. Much appreciated. First of all, I wish you all a very successful and healthy rest of 2022. But from a UK perspective, we've got a fantastic team in place. We are operating. We're now trading. We're just waiting for the FCA license to be unfrozen, which has been approved. But we have a very healthy pipeline, and yeah, you know, I'm just as Matti. I just want to echo what Matti said. I wish them some some incredible returns with us at Estateguru.
Yeah. Stay tuned for exciting news, and I would like to actually thanking all the crew organizing this Piret for really well moderating and all the people today discussing. I think it was a good webinar. So, and thank you for our customers listening today. So,
yes. It's been my utmost pleasure to be here with you, and thank you for listening. And as Mikael said, stay tuned. Till next time.